What's up, guys? Hope you're doing well. And in this video, it's going to be kind of a part two of another video that I made. If you watched the video where I showed some damage to a hydro out of a Z930, and I want to say it had around 2,400 hours on that unit. That was a month ago, and I showed basically how to remove it, and I showed some of the internal damage. Now, the reason it's taken so long for me to make the second part is the customer, the owner of that mower, it's actually a cemetery, and they're going to wait to the first of the year to decide if they're going to spend the money to fix that mower or if they're going to trade that into us. But in the meantime, another unit came in. Now, this one happened to be under warranty, the second unit that just came in that I'm going to show you some footage of. That first one was older. Like I said, it had, over 2,000 hours. This one, I want to say, had around 900 hours on it. It's still under warranty, and it had catastrophic damage on the inside. I'm going to show you. But basically, I'm going to show you it's the same Tuff Torq transmission, and this one's a Z, I believe it's a 920, but pretty much exactly the same. And I'm going to show you guys the damage that I found inside and show you a few little things to look out for and ways you can kind of tell if you got bad news coming. So I'm going to go ahead and show you that footage now. But first, real quick, let me explain. It came in because the right side hydro was not working. And anytime that happens, first thing I want to check is, a lot of times what will happen is if you just move the control lever slowly, it will kind of slowly work. And that could be a couple of things. One of the common things is that pulley on top of that vertical shaft that's on top of the hydro. Sometimes that pulley will start just spinning around that shaft. And if you move the control lever slowly, it will kind of work. But if you put in if you instantly push that lever, basically the drive belt's just spinning that pulley around that shaft, and you can loosen up the drive belt and wiggle that pulley up and down to see if you have any play. So once I did that, confirmed that that wasn't the issue, I went ahead and drained the oil. So I'm going to go ahead and start that footage right now. All right, but first, before I show you the one that had the catastrophic damage, I want to show you something real quick. When you take off this cap to access to the filter, it's a plastic cap that I showed in the other video. You take this off, there's a magnet right above this filter. Okay, so you just pull this hydro filter out. You can examine that for damage. If you see any metal in there, you probably got problems coming. There's a magnet right above that filter. And see that little bulge right there? That's where the magnet is. You can feel it with your finger. And I'm going to show you with a bore scope what it should look like. Now that's normal. You're going to get a little bit of residue, but this is what you want it to look like right here. I'm going to show you on the screen with this bore scope. That thing needs to be clean like that. All right, really clean. So this is a 2020 year model Z920M, and I'm removing the drain plugs, and I'm seeing warning signs right there. Seeing something in the oil, and I pull out the filter, and there's just metal. You can see metal in the oil right there, metal in the filter. And so when I go to fill that magnet that I just got through showing you guys, stick my finger in there, and it's right above the filter, right above that cap. And I'm feeling sharp, jagged pieces of metal. And so I know this is going to be pretty much catastrophic damage inside. And so I start feeling on the bottom, and I'm pulling out ball bearings and things of that nature, pieces of everything, internal parts. So at this point, I know I'm pulling this hydro out and going to split it open. I'm going to show you guys what I found inside. So there's that magnet that I was just feeling, that I was just showing you guys. And you just see all types of parts. Now, you'll notice on the left side of this hydro where it splits, because it seals off two different sections.
The left side was relatively clean with no damage, but the right side, I mean, those looked okay. All this looked okay, but the right side had all the damage, and what it ended up being was that pump right below the pulley. Just basically everything came apart. I'll show you that here in just a second, but I'm showing you the pan. See how clean it is on one side, and the other side just has metal everywhere. So this is the section that broke, and we could not think of what the customer possibly could have done to have caused this. This was manufacturer defect or something. I mean, something had to really make that thing stop hard all of a sudden impact to make this pump group here just completely fall apart like this. And even some of the guys that have worked here, more experienced, far more years of experience, I mean, could not figure out what had caused this, never seen anything like it. We're in here just picking away parts. Luckily, the customer isn't going to have to pay for this. This was under warranty, but if your unit's out of warranty and this happens, it's going to be a very expensive repair. I mean, these hydros are around $2,500, and plus the labor to put it in. But this one ended up just getting an entirely new hydro under warranty. You know, the housing had so much damage on that, it just wasn't fixable. So here's the new hydro. It comes with some oil in it, but if you ever have to do this, just make sure you realize that filler neck does not come with it. So you'll need to remove your filler neck and remove that O-ring and put that, and just one bolt holds it even though it has two holes right there. So put the O-ring in there. And the hydro will come with some oil in it. So you just put that on there. And then next up, I'm going to show you guys some other things about when you have one of these hydros out. And this is actually on the same unit. This is the left side hydro. I noticed all of this dirt and debris. And so what I figured it was either that this top seal, that top plug, they crack from just dry rot, and they're real thin, but they have, and so is this seal here. That's right underneath that pulley, and you pretty much have to remove the hydro to change both of those out. And over time, they will dry rot, and they're real thin. See how thin that one is? Now, what's underneath there is another little magnet there. So this was the left side out of that same unit. I wanted to just check to make sure it didn't have any damage. And now what I'm saying here now is like rope will oftentimes get caught underneath this pulley. So when you guys run over rope or twine or anything, it could get caught underneath that pulley and it'll damage that seal. That's another reason these things will leak, other than just dry rotting over time. And it'll push that seal down and damage it and cause it to leak. And another thing, it will, that rope and twine and things can get caught, wire and things can get caught and mess up that axle shaft seal also. Now here's the John Deere part number for just the seal, comes with the filter and the O-ring for the cap, and if you get it from Tuff Torq, it comes with all of these seals. Now you notice this plug, that's the improvement plug, comes with this kit. So it'll come with that top seal, the axle shaft seal, all these little O-rings, and it comes with this plug that I want to show you. They've improved this plug. So this one was real thin. The one I just used that screwdriver and just punched right through there. It's real thin. I can stick my finger right through here. It's just a little piece of rubber. It's eventually going to start leaking. Now the upgraded plug has a lot more brass or copper or something, And that little piece right there just kind of helps hold that magnet in place, hold that magnet a little better. But they're the same thickness, but it's just got a much better brass in there to keep it from, it's probably not going to leak nearly as soon as the old style will. All right, so next I want to just go over some things about when you remove these and have to reinstall it. These hoses right here, when you take these hoses off, you know, you can take these, it's just going to be so much easier if you just take that tank completely out of there. Take the hoses off, and I like to take a little plug or something and plug the filler neck for the hydro so it doesn't get dirt in it. But all you got to do to remove those, I believe it takes a 13 millimeter, it's just 2 bolts. And you loosen those hoses clamps. You can just pull that right out. A little bit of oil is going to drain out. Give you a good opportunity to clean out the tank, and then so if you're going to go put it back in, it's like I'm pulling off my caps that I put on there to keep dirt out. So when you go to put the hydro back in, I got it supported by a jack here. You got to miss all these little levers and things. And sometimes you'll have to move that seat up so you can move this lever around. But you want to get the hydro up on that part there first to support it. And then there's another thing I do in here. There's a bolt. That bolt right there, you can't get it out. So I zip tie it up into place right there to hold it out of my way when I go to put it into position. It's the inside bolt on the rear. There's 2 on the rear, and it's the one that's closest to the inside. Then you can get all your bolts started. You can use the wrench right here. Works pretty well. And just carefully get these 2 started because those nuts are welded in the bottom of that frame. But then it's just tighten them all your bolts up.
All right, so once you get it bolted, the hydro bolted back in, you can bolt up your control lever arm and the e-brake pin. You can put that in with the pin, but I'm going to show you something that I made a mistake on in the last video, and it's kind of painstaking, but I'm going to show you how to avoid the mistake that I made in the last video. Okay, so here's the little lever that I broke right here last time. And what you want to do before you pull the hydro out is remove this metal lever here that attaches to that plastic arm. Now it takes a little retainer clip. I'm going to show you the part number because most likely you're going to break the one when you take it off. It won't be reusable. It's this little clip right here. It's easy to break. So if you're doing this once, I'd recommend getting 2 of them, because a lot of times what I do is I take like a pair of pliers. Once the hydro is back in there, it's going to be very difficult to kind of get to, and you want to make sure you're going through the right hole. I'll show you that here in just a second, but you're going to have to put that lever in there. So there's the hole that you got to make sure you go through, because it's easy to put it into that larger hole where the e-brake pin goes through. And this is probably the most difficult thing for me, but I always used to use a screwdriver to hold that arm down and use a pair of needle nose pliers to push that retainer clip up. All right guys, so I hope this video helps you out if you ever have to do this, have to remove your hydro or service it. So what I need you to do is hit that like button, but most importantly I need you guys to subscribe. That really helps me out, and I'll have more videos like this coming out soon. Appreciate it guys. Thanks for watching.